Hi everyone, I'm Chuck Ciociola, and today I'm presenting my research proposal titled Do Problem-Solving Courts Improve Reentry Outcomes for People with Co-Occurring Disorders? This project explores how alternative court models, specifically problem-solving courts, might offer more effective support than traditional courts do for individuals that are navigating both mental health and substance use challenges. Problem-solving courts can be identified by other names, such as drug courts or mental health courts, both aimed at a more therapeutic and non-punitive system of rehabilitation. This study focuses on individuals with co-occurring disorders, meaning that they experience both a substance use disorder and a mental health condition, all the while that they are involved with the criminal justice system. The question is whether problem-solving courts, which connect people to services like therapy, medication support, housing, and job training, lead to better outcomes in the time after their reentry in comparison to traditional court processes. This includes factors like staying out of jail, accessing treatment, and building stability in both their lives and in their community. Moving into why this subject is important, this issue matters because individuals with co-occurring disorders are significantly overrepresented in our legal system. National data shows that around 45% of incarcerated individuals in the United States meet the criteria for co-occurring disorders. Despite this high prevalence of co-occurring disorders in the incarcerated population, most individuals do not receive adequate behavioral health care while in jail or prison. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, over 60% of people in prison and nearly 75% of women in prison report symptoms of mental illness, yet fewer than 1 in 3 receive any form of mental health treatment during incarceration. When released, individuals with co-occurring disorders often return to the same systemic gaps that contributed to their justice involvement in the first place. This could be poverty, unstable housing, untreated trauma, limited access to care, and a myriad of other socioeconomic issues. Um, Often these systemic gaps only get larger, while many of these individuals may struggle with felony records, even if they wanted to find help and some structure or to make some changes in their lives. Finding housing or gainful employment is just not even a possibility in some states because of their criminal record. Um, and then without structured reentry support, they're left to navigate these complex behavioral, legal, and social systems alone, contributing to a national recidivism rate of nearly 68% within 3 years of release and 82% within 10 years. Problem solving courts offer an alternative. Rather than simply issuing a sentence, these courts aim to address the root causes of criminal behavior, such as untreated bipolar disorder, PTSD, opioid addiction, poverty. All of this done in problem solving courts is rooted in a therapeutic jurisprudence. Participants are connected to wraparound services in these courts. They're supervised closely and supported by an interdisciplinary team that often includes social workers, judges, case managers, and different other treatment providers. This approach aligns directly with the social work values of particularly harm reduction, trauma informed care, and systems level advocacy. So, for the methodology of this study, it is a cross sectional survey design with a proposed sample. The hypothetical sample includes 100 justice involved individuals with co occurring disorders, 50 of whom have participated in a problem solving court, and 50 who went through the traditional court system. Each participant would complete a 16-question survey assessing their access to key reentry supports, such as case management, safe housing, job training, and mental health services, and their confidence in avoiding reincarceration within their first year of release. For participating in the survey, participants will receive a $10 gift card. All information will be anonymously collected, and they also will have the option, of course, to not participate. Um, so from then, the data would be analyzed using descriptive statistics to summarize trends across both groups, followed by t-test and chi-square comparisons to explore differences in outcomes between PSC and traditional court participants. If the sample size allows, basic regression models will be applied to explore how the court type may predict improved reentry outcomes. And throughout this would be controlled by variables like age, race, ethnicity, or prior incarceration history. So, based on current research, the hypothesis is that individuals who go through problem solving courts will report more favorable outcomes across multiple domains. For example, studies have shown that drug court graduates have recidivism rates as low as 17% compared to over 50% for similar individuals who navigate traditional courts without therapeutic supports. Other studies have demonstrated that mental health courts improve treatment engagement and participant satisfaction while reducing the number of days spent in jail. That being said, there are mixed results in other studies based on the effectiveness of problem solving courts. A lot of this came from my lit review, and I do hypothesize that because of the difference in effectiveness, this would come from the amount and the quality of services and their accessibility that these problem solving courts are offering. With that being said, I still anticipate that the problem-solving court participants in the survey will report greater access to reentry services, more satisfaction within the court process, improved housing and employment stability, and a lower perceived risk of returning to a prison within a year. So the implications of this project are both practical and policy oriented. For social workers, the findings could support stronger collaboration between community-based behavioral health agencies and the justice system. At the policy level, the results could contribute to advocacy efforts calling for the expansion of therapeutic courts, especially in under-resourced or over-policed communities. These courts are not just about reducing recidivism, they represent a shift towards compassion, accountability, and systemic healing. Therapeutic court models offer a chance to reduce harm, restore dignity, and connect individuals to the resources that they need to rebuild their lives. As social workers, we are ethically obligated to promote interventions that address the structural and behavioral roots of justice involvement, rather than continuing to perpetuate punishment cycles that disproportionately harm those that have unmet clinical and social needs. So for my personal reflection and the process of kind of developing this research study, even though I had prior experience doing some research and even presenting research at a conference and things like that nature, creating a project like this from the ground up, especially in a graduate level context, can definitely be, just more complex than I initially assumed. Hold on, my cat's gonna knock over my camera. I have to pause. I'm back. All right. Anyway, I definitely had some challenges along the way here. My partner that I was doing this research ended up withdrawing halfway through the semester, and this did add some pressure, but it also kind of gave me the time to like really kind of focus on my vision here as creating this research together. So we I was a little bit stressed here towards the end, kind of putting all this together on my own, but it did relieve some of the stress of not needing to coordinate and schedule share and things of that nature. Um, so that was one unexpected issue that I'm hoping that I was able to kind of overcome here. All in all, this experience reinforced how important it is to remain adaptable and kind of committed to the process. It deepened my appreciation for the role research can play in shaping a clinical practice, which is like my end goal. Um, I hope to be working as a clinician that works with individuals who lack accessible support systems, especially individuals that are re-entering society after incarceration or battling substance abuse, mental health, or co-occurring disorders. Um, I believe that research like this can help advocate for trauma-informed systemic interventions. Uh, Problem-solving courts may not be a perfect solution, but they definitely represent a step toward a more rehabilitative and equitable approach to justice. This project reminded me that clinicians can also be advocates. That's one thing that I was really thinking of towards the end of the day, because though I do have experience with research and honestly, I'm one of the guys, the weirdos who like research. Sorry, that's kind of a joke, but it is true. I do like looking through research study guides and things along on research studies and things of that nature. But it's not like my end goal, but I think taking part in things like this could definitely be something that I do in the future, working as a clinician as well. I think that it can definitely be used as a way to, elevate the voices of those that we ended up serving here. So, yeah, it was definitely a challenge kind of putting this all together, but I think it was a very worthwhile and, valuable learning experience. So, I hope everyone enjoys. All right. I hope everyone also has a great summer, and thank you for all the support along the way.